Puri Peak Station lies just north of Kaikoura on the Seaward Mountain Range. It incorporates the highest privately owned land in the country. There's extraordinary geological variation to be seen, and rare native birds also make their home here. For owner Nikki MacArthur, it's a place to be shared with others. With the property still recovering from the effects of the 2016 earthquake that damaged her own eco-lodge and tour business, she's begun a partnership with local eco-tour operator Will Parsons.
We're at Puri Peak Station. My role is owner, kaitiaki of the land. It's an extraordinary property, partly because it's the highest freehold land in New Zealand. We start at about 300 metres and then go up to about 2,500 metres, which gives us huge variation of topography, geology, geomorphology and biodiversity across just the most amazing range. When I first became involved, at that point there was 4,000 acres, which was Puri Peaks, and we put half of that into QE2 Covenant, so 865 hectares of QE2 Covenant, which is now known as Puri Peaks Nature Reserve. I became involved in Puri Peaks in 2003. 2004 we built the lodge, and my boys were involved in that, and I did a bit of the track building. And then we opened for business in 2005. I took over the lodge and running the whole farm in 2007. So my journey was 2007 through for about 10 years through to the earthquake. Shearwater Lodge was really important, and when we lost it in the earthquake, I mean, that was a massive hit to our income. I mean, it was our main income source. Our honey is managed by a contractor. We don't manage it ourselves at all. We've been doing honey since early on, but of course it's only in recent times that Manuka UMF factor has become so important, and New Zealand's done such an amazing job in marketing Manuka honey. We've just had 450 boxes, I believe, go off here. The other day I saw the trucks going out the gate, and that looked pretty exciting. Carbon's really important to Puri Peaks, and I've been involved right from the start in 2007. And we have a lot of post-1990 permanent forests. So we're in the PFSI, which is the Permanent Sink Initiative for New Zealand. And luckily that I was in 2007, because it has really saved our bacon, really, because it's incredibly important. But it's more than that for me. I think the Puri Peak story is a fascinating story in itself, just in terms of biodiversity. And the carbon and being able to offset against local businesses, or people come to us through Toitu, and they particularly want carbon that's in QE2 covenants, which I think is fantastic. A, that New Zealand businesses have to offset within New Zealand, and B, that they are looking for forest that's protected in perpetuity regardless of the ownership. This is all within the QE2 covenant.
Yes.
We're at Totra Saddle, and this is our first stop on the first day of our 3-day walk originally, and now part of our 1-day walk. It's a good place to sit and discuss the Hutton Shearwater colony, which is on Shearwater Stream colony, one of the 2 remaining wild colonies in the world.
We did more of the Vernon Station, Marlborough, up the things like that.
I was lucky enough to go on a driftwood eco-tours tour many years ago, and then Will came and did a walk with us here with Kaikoura Wilderness Walks. Gave me lots of good tips and things in the early days when I started running it on my own. I noticed with Will's groups that they've all very often professors, or they bring a lot of knowledge, and they ask a lot of really interesting questions, and it's fantastic to be able to share that knowledge.
Driftwood Eco Tour started in 2004 because we felt there was a need to be a greater awareness of conservation, wetlands, and just taking people back and looking at what was around them and how important nature is in our life. We have ecologically minded groups of people. We're a very sustainable company, so people like our values, and we do small group tours to places like Puri Peaks here. We do to Durval Island, we go to Chatham Islands, and we go to remote locations around basically at the top of the South Island. Every tour that we operate gives back to the communities. So to this property in particular, I think there's so many assets within this property that have value to that covers all the fields of what we offer. Like it might be environment, it might be carbon, it might be alpine plants, it might be bird life, it might be the rivers. So it fills all those niches for us. So it's easier for us to gather, if you like, our clients into that scenario.
Harp and shearwaters are the only seabird in the whole world to nest in the subalpine at between 1,200 metres and 1,800 metres. There's only 2 wild colonies and they're endemic to Kaikoura. There's a larger one on Dockland at the Kowhai Valley, and then we've got Shearwater Stream, which is a much smaller colony, and they're nationally vulnerable. And I've been running a science project for the last 3 years, which is about to demonstrate that we're down from 8,000 breeding pair to 3,000 breeding pair, which is impacted, we thought initially, by the earthquake, but now we think it's additionally possibly feeding at sea and food availability, and also in particular predation by mustelids. I don't think personally that New Zealand, with a population base of 5.5 million, has got sufficient funds to look after the conservation estate to the level we would like, when it's 33% of the country and we've only got so much income and so many taxpayers in this very real time of climate disruption. I think it's a real worry, and what can we do to make a difference? And I think conserving Puri Peaks to the best of my ability is something I'd like to go to my grave having made a difference.